The hall of the Galactic Council was a grand architectural marvel, constructed from luminous alloys harvested from neutron stars, with its massive dome reflecting the light of thousands of stars. Representatives from 250 different species filed in, each carrying the unique aura of the civilization they represented. Some shimmered in intricately crafted bio-armor, while others bore glowing artifacts that created a symphony of light and color. This was not just a place where critical policies were decided but also a stage to display the power and culture of each race in the galaxy. Yet amidst the splendor, the atmosphere was tinged with unease. Stern gazes and hushed whispers among the representatives all centered on one name: Earth. This was not the first time the small planet had made an appearance at these meetings, but this time, they had brought with them a bold proposition: to join the Council, the most powerful organization in the galaxy. Earth's ambassador, Kylan stepped in with an air of confidence. His attire, though not as elaborate as those of the other representatives, exuded elegance, a symbol of humility and determination. Standing before the assembly, he presented his case: Earth, though a young and small planet, has made remarkable strides in science and technology. We believe that our inclusion will benefit not just Earth but the entire galaxy. A murmur spread through the hall. Some representatives sneered openly, while others remained silent, their expressions scrutinizing. The council's chairman, a towering being with glowing skin and eyes as deep as the night sky, slowly rose. His voice was deep and commanding but carried a trace of mockery: Earth, a planet that has only just begun to step into space, now seeks to join the Galactic Council? Ladies and gentlemen, should we even entertain this notion? A representative from the Zyther race, known for their logical precision, immediately stood to object. Earth has developed too quickly, disregarding the Council's standards. Allowing them membership would only encourage instability in the galaxy. Another representative, a half-machine, half-organic being from the Heliox race, added, their strong tendency toward militarization is concerning. If granted membership, they could leverage our technology to become an even greater threat. Voices of agreement echoed throughout the chamber. Despite having anticipated resistance, Kylan could feel the immense pressure weighing down on him. Still, he stood firm. Honored members of the Council, he said with steadfast resolve, our technology and military advancements are not instruments of conquest but tools of protection. If you review human history, you will see that we have always pursued peace and cooperation. But we have also never yielded to oppression. His words resonated boldly but were met with a cold silence in the chamber. The council chairman, his gaze piercing, spoke slowly: history teaches us that civilizations that grow as rapidly as Earth often spiral into disaster. We cannot take that risk. Your request is denied. The statement struck a blow to Kylan's pride. He offered no rebuttal, merely bowing slightly before stepping down from the podium. As he reached the doorway, however, he paused and turned to face the room full of representatives. One day, you will realize that rejecting humanity was a mistake. And when that day comes, we will not beg for your mercy. We will prove our worth in our own way. His words hung in the air, casting a brief silence over the hall. Yet rather than fear or regret, the representatives watched him leave with a mix of disdain and wary caution. The council had made its decision, and in their eyes, Earth was nothing more than an insignificant speck unworthy of concern. However, at that very moment, they failed to realize that they had just sown the seeds of a revolution. And that revolution would not only transform Earth but the entire galaxy. In the magnificent hall of the Galactic Council, where the light of thousands of stars streamed through colossal crystal domes, an unprecedented tension gripped the air. Ambassador Kylan Harrow, Earth's sole representative, stood at the center stage. His face remained composed, but his eyes shone with a mixture of pride and faint disappointment. The Council's decision had been made. Despite all of Earth's achievements, they still could not convince the arrogant members of the Galactic Alliance. "Yes, we are warriors," Kylan began, his deep voice resonating throughout the hall. "But that is not all we are. We are creators, explorers, and seekers of something greater. This council sees us as a threat. But that fear stems only from misunderstanding. Instead of obstructing us, give us the chance to prove our true worth." A wave of murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some representatives, particularly from ancient civilizations like Xyloid and Krishar, openly displayed their disdain. The Krishar ambassador, with metallic skin and glowing violet eyes, immediately stepped forward to rebut, "You are asking for trust in a species that has barely escaped its own star system for less than a century. History has shown us that civilizations advancing too quickly often self-destruct or wreak havoc on the galaxy. The Council's duty is to preserve stability, not gamble on a fledgling planet like Earth." Kylan remained calm, but his piercing gaze cut through the air like a blade. He knew this was not merely a rejection, it was arrogance and fear of sharing power from civilizations accustomed to dominance. Stepping closer to the scrutinizing eyes of the representatives, he said, "We do not need your protection. If our creativity and adaptability make you uneasy, perhaps the problem lies not with us but with the Council's own insecurities." His words struck a nerve, resonating like a sharp blow to the pride of the representatives. The Council's chairman, who had maintained a composed and authoritative demeanor, frowned slightly. He stepped forward, his deep voice now laced with firmness, "Ambassador Harrow, your words verge on arrogance. This council has existed for over 10 millennia, and we do not need a young planet challenging the rules that have upheld peace in this galaxy." Kylan did not waver. He understood that every word he spoke at this moment would be remembered not only by those in the hall but also by the history of Earth. "I am not challenging your rules," he said. "I am challenging your fear. Because fear is the greatest enemy of progress. You may reject us today, but remember, this will not stop us. It will only make us stronger." The chamber fell silent. Kylan's gaze swept across the representatives, as if etching Earth's determination into their minds. No one responded, but it was clear that not everyone felt entirely satisfied with the decision to reject Earth. Some representatives, such as those from the Alinara star system or the planet Gride, exchanged quiet glances, seemingly recognizing something different in Kylan's words. When the session ended, Kylan walked out of the hall with calm steps, but a fire burned fiercely within him. His footsteps echoed steadily along the long corridor, where crystal lights illuminated carvings of the galaxy's history. He did not look back. Behind him, representatives from distant planets whispered about him, about Earth, and about a future they were too afraid to face. In Earth's waiting room, his entourage, young scientists and diplomats, stood ready. Seeing their anxious faces, Kylan offered a reassuring smile. "We don't need their approval. Let them refuse. Because when the time comes, we will be the ones to reshape this galaxy." Upon returning to Earth's starship, Kylan called an emergency meeting with the brightest minds in their delegation. Inside the compact but state-of-the-art command ship Aurora, he laid out a bold plan. "The Council does not see our potential. But we don't need their recognition. We will create our own alliance, one built on cooperation and progress. We will show them that Earth is not just a fledgling planet. We will become a beacon for the worlds they have abandoned." His words ignited a wave of inspiration among those present. They understood that from this moment on, Earth was no longer fighting merely for survival but for a future they believed in. In the endless expanse of space, humanity's fire of determination began to burn brighter than ever. No longer under the supervision or pressure of the Galactic Council, Earth entered an unprecedented phase in human history. The rejection by the Council had become a powerful catalyst, awakening the creative potential and survival instincts of humanity. In just a decade, Earth transformed from a small, once dismissed planet into a rising galactic power brimming with potential. On Earth's surface, ultra-modern cities sprang up at a dizzying pace. An advanced quantum energy system not only provided limitless power but was also applied to bold space projects. Massive spaceship factories were established in Earth's orbit and on the Moon's surface, producing fleets of cutting-edge warships. The Erebus-class warships, equipped with pulse energy weapons and anti-gravity armor, became the new symbol of human strength. Under the leadership of Ambassador Kylan, Earth also launched an audacious diplomatic strategy. He focused not only on military strength but also on forming alliances with planets that had been abandoned or looked down upon by the Council. Two of these were Nereus and Kylan, planets on the edge of the galaxy, deemed by the Council as too insignificant to offer strategic support. Nereus was a resource-rich planet, yet its people had been left in poverty for centuries. Kylan, on the other hand, was a technologically advanced society but lacked the energy resources for sustainable development. Both had been neglected by a council focused solely on maintaining power for core civilizations. When Earth reached out to help, asking nothing in return but cooperation, Nereus and Kylan quickly recognized that this was their chance to escape oppression. The newly formed alliance, named the Orion Pact, was based on principles of equality, innovation, and cooperation. The first meetings of the pact were held at the Aurora Prime Space Station, a grand structure situated between interstellar space. This station became not only a diplomatic center but a symbol of the new strength and unity among the worlds. Every day, scientists, engineers, and leaders from dozens of planets gathered at Aurora Prime, bringing with them new ideas and technologies. From Kylan, they learned to develop advanced artificial intelligence to enhance productivity and military strategy. From Nereus, they discovered super-durable materials never before used in the history of the universe. Earth, with its boundless creativity, quickly transformed these resources into practical power. The success of the Orion Pact was not just in its defense capabilities or construction, but in how it inspired others. Smaller planets, from distant star systems, began to take notice of Earth's rise. Many worlds that had once feared or hesitated before the Council's control now turned to the Pact for protection and mutual development. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council could not ignore these rapid changes. Continuous reports from their spies revealed that the Orion Pact was building a powerful fleet, not only for defense but strong enough to threaten the entire galaxy if needed. Many members of the Council began to worry, not because of the military threat, but because the Pact's influence could erode their already shaky power. On the core planet Orion Prime, where the Galactic Council was headquartered, closed-door meetings were held in rapid succession. Some conservative members called for immediate military action to eliminate the Orion Pact before it became an uncontrollable threat. But more moderate representatives feared that any conflict would only strengthen Earth's position and that of their allies. At Aurora Prime, Ambassador Kylan convened a strategic conference. Leaders from the allied planets were present, each representing a world with its own culture and expectations. Kylan opened the meeting with a strong declaration: "We are not building this pact for war. But we will not back down from any threat. Remember, the Council rejected us because they feared change. And it is that very change that will save the galaxy." Throughout the conference, the leaders proposed bold plans. Kylan suggested developing a strategic satellite network to protect the Pact's borders. Nereus committed to providing the necessary resources to build space stations and energy plants. Earth, in its leadership role, not only supplied technology but continued to expand its diplomatic influence. As the conference concluded, a sense of unity spread among all members. They were not just allies, they were friends, revolutionaries sharing a common dream, a galaxy no longer ruled by fear and conservatism. In just a few years, the Orion Pact became a symbol of hope and innovation. But they also knew that the storm was coming. The Council would not stand idly by while its power was threatened. An inevitable confrontation was beginning to form in the vast skies of the galaxy. In a distant region near the border of the Orion Pact, the Prometheus cargo fleet was carrying out a crucial mission, transporting ultra-durable materials from Nereus to the warship factories on the Moon. These cargo ships were unarmed, operating under the protection of unofficial treaties between civilizations. But this time, the enemy ignored the rules. The pirate group known as the Grey Corsairs, an underground organization secretly supported by the Galactic Council, ambushed the convoy. With their old but numerous warships, they quickly overwhelmed the Prometheus escorts. Laser beams fired out, brilliant flashes tearing through the darkness of space, and in less than 10 minutes, the convoy was split. 2 of the main cargo ships were destroyed, taking with them vital resources that the Orion Pact desperately needed. On Aurora Prime, the news of the attack sent shockwaves through the entire Orion Pact Council. This wasn't just a pirate attack, it was a covert declaration of war from the Galactic Council. This action could not be ignored. Ambassador Kylan Harrow stood before the Council representatives and declared, "If we do not respond, they will see it as weakness. The Orion Pact will not bow to any threat. They want to see our power? Then we'll show them." Earth immediately deployed the Sentinel fleet, a squadron of advanced warships developed over the past 5 years. The Sentinel-class ships were the pinnacle of the Orion Pact's technology. Equipped with Hyperion drive engines, these ships could travel at speeds 20 times the speed of light, far surpassing any technology the Galactic Council had ever witnessed. They were also outfitted with pulse energy weapon systems, capable of destroying targets from millions of kilometers away. It didn't take long for the Sentinel fleet to track down the Grey Corsairs. Thanks to Kylan's advanced surveillance satellites, the pirate base was located in a region of space near the Beatrix 7 star system. This area, filled with cosmic dust and dead planets, would make any pursuit difficult. But for the Sentinel fleet, this was merely a small challenge. When the Sentinel fleet arrived, the Grey Corsairs had no chance of resistance. The lead warship, Eclipse, immediately launched a series of energy weapon strikes. The pulse energy beams from Eclipse struck, destroying each pirate warship with a single shot. The remaining Sentinel ships quickly surrounded the pirate base, disabling all of its defense systems. In just 30 minutes, the entire Grey Corsair force was wiped out. But instead of stopping there, Earth decided to send a strong message to the Galactic Council. A signal was sent from the Eclipse to all members of the Council, an image of the Sentinel fleet in perfect formation, accompanied by the words, "Anyone who dares attack the Orion Pact will face these consequences." Earth's actions immediately shook the entire galaxy. Council members, who had previously dismissed Earth and the Pact, now realized they had miscalculated. The Council convened an emergency meeting on the central planet Orion Prime. Some members, particularly the conservatives, called for a strong military response to contain the threat from Earth. But the more moderate members warned that any military action would only lead to a war the Council might not win. Meanwhile, across the galaxy's borders, Earth's victory spread like a beacon of hope. Planets that had long suffered under the Council's imposed control now began to ask, could they find freedom and new opportunities under the leadership of the Orion Pact? Some had already started making secret contact with Earth's representatives, eager to explore the possibility of joining the new alliance. Earth and the Orion Pact had not only won their first confrontation with the Council but had also made significant strides in solidifying their position. However, their leaders understood that this was just the beginning. The Galactic Council would not stand by quietly. The conservatives within the Council would certainly plot a stronger retaliation, and the Orion Pact had to prepare for a larger war that could determine the fate of the entire galaxy. Under the light of the stars, the Orion Pact had evolved into something greater, not just an alliance, but a comprehensive empire, the Orion Empire. Its creation was not born from a desire for domination, but from a response to the injustices, conservatism, and the oppressive control of the Galactic Council. What began as an alliance of abandoned worlds, the Orion Empire quickly became a pioneering force in the galaxy. Earth, as the instigator, became the heart of the new empire. The space city Nova Aeternum, built in orbit around Earth, stood as a symbol of unity and innovation. This colossal city was not only the headquarters of the Orion Empire but also a center for culture, science, and politics. Surrounded by shimmering space stations, Nova Aeternum embodied the vision of the future that humanity and its allied civilizations were working together to build. The once desolate planets, forgotten or drained by the Council, were now being reborn by Orion's technology. On the planet Vielstrom, a world once deemed worthless by the Council, Orion's terraforming machines transformed barren sand dunes into lush plains. The planet now housed billions of people from different worlds, united in building a multicultural society where everyone had the opportunity to grow and prosper. The technological advancements of the Orion Empire went far beyond expectations. The third-generation quantum engines, developed in Earth's laboratories, allowed spacecraft to travel across galaxy-spanning distances in just a few days. These achievements not only strengthened Orion's position but also spread a sense of hope to other worlds still under the Council's oppressive grip. More importantly, the Orion Empire was not built on oppression or control, but on the principles of shared technology and cooperation. Every planet that joined the Empire gained access to the resources and knowledge of other member worlds. This created a strong, interconnected network, where planets no longer competed but supported one another. These fair policies attracted many members of the Galactic Council, even neutral worlds, who chose to leave the Council and join Orion. However, the rapid growth of the Orion Empire brought significant challenges. The leaders of Orion, including Ambassador Kylan and the top scientists, realized they needed a management structure that was both flexible and efficient. The Orion Council was established, comprising representatives from all member planets. This council would not only make political decisions but also serve as a platform for civilizations to share ideas, technology, and culture. Meanwhile, at the heart of the Galactic Council, the conservatives grew increasingly tense and desperate. They realized that the Orion Empire was not just a temporary alliance but a direct challenge to their existence. Some of the Council's leaders began plotting to destabilize Orion from within, using spies and propaganda campaigns to sow distrust and division. However, the Orion Empire, under Earth's leadership, was prepared to counter any schemes. The rise of the Orion Empire not only shifted the balance of power in the galaxy but also ushered in a new era of hope and innovation. Earth, once a rejected planet, had now become the beacon guiding the forgotten and oppressed worlds. Yet, in the brilliant light of Orion, the shadows of conspiracies and new wars were also beginning to form, signaling that this journey would not stop. The fate of the entire galaxy awaited its final resolution. In the serene expanse of the Lyra system, where the lights of countless stars twinkled like an endless tapestry in the sky, the Galactic Council and the Orion Empire met for the first time in what was described as the most historic meeting in millions of years. This was not just a political negotiation, it was the moment that would decide the fate of the entire galaxy. The doors of the largest diplomatic vessel ever built, Equinox Prime, opened, and the two delegations faced each other in a space protected by strong force fields. The Council's delegation was led by Chairman Ravixith, who no longer bore the proud demeanor of the past, but instead carried a weary, burdened air. Across from him stood Earth's ambassador Kylan Harrow, leading the Orion delegation, which included representatives from member planets such as Nereus, Kylan, and Vielstrom. The Orion delegation's attire was not elaborate, but exuded confidence and vitality, symbols of the new galaxy they sought to build. Chairman Ravik, his voice quiet but filled with regret, began the meeting. "We underestimated you. The Council made a mistake trying to impose power instead of listening and collaborating. We are here to correct that, if it is still possible." These were words Ravik never thought he would have to utter, but the pressure from the other council members and the undeniable strength of the Orion Empire had forced him to change. Ambassador Harrow did not respond with arrogance or mockery. He looked directly at Ravik and said, "Earth seeks no vengeance. We do not want a galaxy divided by hatred. What we seek is cooperation, not control, but a new vision, a future where all civilizations have the opportunity to grow." The discussions stretched over several days, involving scientists, leaders, and strategists from both sides. The Council attempted to convince Orion to rejoin and restore the old structure, but Harrow and the Orion leaders stood firm in their rejection. They understood that the old system, where power was concentrated in a single organization like the Council, was the source of discontent and conflict. Instead, Orion proposed a bold alternative, to establish a completely new galaxy-wide alliance, not based on power, but on responsibility and cooperation. This new alliance would not have a central governing body, but instead regional councils connected by a shared charter. Important decisions would be made based on consensus and common interests, rather than the will of a few. A key point in the proposed charter was the unfettered right to develop. Under this rule, any planet or species would have the freedom to develop technology and explore space, as long as they did not infringe upon the rights of other civilizations. This rule was seen as the foundation of a new era, one where creativity and collaboration were prioritized. At first, the Council members hesitated, especially those species who had relied on the Council's patronage to maintain influence. But as Orion presented evidence of how their model had saved dozens of planets from decline and created technological breakthroughs the Council had never achieved, the hesitation gradually faded. In a symbolic moment, Chairman Ravik signed the new charter before the eyes of hundreds of reporters from across the galaxy. He spoke, "Today, we are not just correcting a mistake, we are beginning a new era. A galaxy where power is no longer the goal, but a tool to build a better future for all of us." In the years that followed, the Galactic Alliance, officially formed under Orion's charter, became a symbol of unity. Planets that were once isolated now joined the vast economic and cultural network. Earth's technologies, such as stable quantum energy and new faster-than-light engines, were shared openly, benefiting billions of lives across the galaxy. But not everything was perfect. Opponents of the new model, from conservatives of the old council to underground factions, continued to work in the shadows. Meanwhile, at the galaxy's edge, signals from a mysterious alien species, one that had never communicated with other civilizations, began to emerge. These new challenges called for stronger unity, but they also confirmed that the path set by the Galactic Alliance was the right one to face the future. And through all this turmoil, Earth, once a small, rejected planet, had become a beacon of hope and renewal, a place where the entire galaxy looked to build a limitless future together.